So now we've all heard of, elephant rifles, stuff chambered in large cartridges like, let's say, this 458 Winchester Magnum, and that are used to, hunt elephants. But what if you wanted to hunt whales? What's up, guys? Skippy Africanus here, and welcome back to another Cartridge of the Week episode, this week featuring the very massive 460 Weatherby Magnum. Developed in 1957 by Roy Weatherby, the cartridge was, as mentioned, designed to hunt dangerous African game, stuff like elephant, rhino, Cape buffalo, hippos, you name it. If it was big, it'd certainly kill it dead. Now, initially, Roy had actually been working on getting another cartridge more popular, the 378 Weatherby Magnum, which I have an example of right here. However, while the cartridge performed quite well against elephants, to which Roy himself actually proved in a public display, many African countries were beginning to implement 40 caliber minimums for animals such as, elephant, Cape buffalo, and rhino, meaning that though the 378 could work quite well, it wouldn't matter as many African countries wouldn't let you use it, or at least let you use it for, really, really big game hunting. Now, to solve this problem, all he did was he simply necked up the casing for the 378 Weatherby Mag, to a 458 diameter bullet in order to satisfy the, 40 caliber minimum requirements. Now, in doing so, with, increasing the bullet diameter, as well as I imagine playing around with the powder a little bit, not only did Roy satisfy the legal requirements, but he actually ended up creating the most powerful cartridge of the day, surpassing the 600 Nitro Express in, power, and it would stay this way for around 29 years until the advent of the 700 Nitro Express, which would, of course, overtake the 460 Weatherby as most potent sporting cartridge. Now, I will say, while at the gun show that I got this one at, they did have, for once, a 700 Nitro Express cartridge, and while this one was $1, that one was it was either $500 or $700. So in case you're wondering how much 700 Nitro Express rounds go for, now mind you, this is a collector, it's probably a little bit more expensive than what you can get it for, but yeah, those are about $700, which is a shame because it'd be nice to compare it to the 460 to just see the size of it. Now, on average, the rifles made for this caliber, the 460 Weatherby, tend to be bolt actions. Actually, I couldn't find any examples of double rifles chambered in it, at all. Granted, those are very custom guns, so I imagine that at least one double rifle exists somewhere that is in 460 Weatherby Magnum. Now, looking at this cartridge, aside from, obviously looking massive, you will notice this raised piece right here, which is called a belt. And this belt is actually fairly common on a lot of these, massive Magnum rounds. You will note that the 378 Weatherby Magnum had one, as well as the 458 Winchester Magnum has a belt. Plenty of calibers of this massive size tend to have belts. And this is done in order to ensure proper headspace by preventing over-insertion of the cartridge into the chamber. As given the sheer power of, these as well as other belted rounds, head spacing needs to be even more precise than it does on a standard rifle. Now, while we are looking at the case, we might as well check out the head stamp. We usually do that at the beginning of the video, but we'll look at it now, and it's pretty basic, just says 460 Weatherby Magnum. I'm not actually certain who manufactures this specific cartridge, as this is a pretty basic head stamp, and also I got this for, as mentioned, for $1 at the gun show, and it came in a little baggie, so it wasn't, with a whole box, which, side note, looking this ammo up online, this stuff goes for around $20 a shot right now, so, now sure, this one would probably be worth a little less, as looks a little bit old, but, needless to say, I think $1 for this round right here, that's a pretty smoking deal. Anyways, while I do not know who has actually made this specific example, I can tell you that this one in particular is not an elephant killer. Or at least, probably more correct, this isn't one that you would take to go hunt elephants. I'm certain with good shot placement you could kill one with this. But typically, from what I have seen anyways, when you start hunting, say, elephant or rhinoceros, you tend to want what's called a monolithic bullet, which is a bullet that is all metal in construction, usually made with something like a brass alloy, meaning that you will not have, like let's say a jacket, you certainly won't have a lead core or anything. It'll just be a solid piece of, let's say, brass. I'm pretty sure this 458 Winchester Magnum is actually a monolithic bullet, if I can remember right. But yeah, you tend to want, with really big animals like that, especially if you're talking about headshots, you want a monolithic bullet. So yeah, now this one we can tell has, the copper jacket as well as exposed lead, just your good old soft point. Yeah, as mentioned, well, you could probably kill an elephant with this, but you tend to want a monolithic bullet. Now, going on with the bullet itself, I also do not know the exact weight of this bullet. However, weights tend to be around the 450 to 600 grain range, which are certainly some heavy hitters, and to add to that, they aren't slow traveling at all, moving around 26 to 2700 feet per second. Which, just to give you a little bit of a comparison, comparing this elephant killer to this elephant killer I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the 458 Winchester Magnum is said to be able to provide a quick kill on an elephant at up to around 65 yards, whereas the 460 Weatherby can reach all the way out to 250 yards and have absolutely zero issue on the poor elephant. Though to be fair, 90% of elephant kills do happen around 60 yards and in, so in a way you could say that the 460 is a little bit of overkill, but also keep in mind, I don't hunt elephants, so I know for certain I couldn't tell you which one to pick. Anyways, speaking of big game, I had mentioned that the 460 is not limited to hunting elephants. This cartridge is actually one of the few cartridges approved by the International Whaling Commissions to hunt whales with. Which, maybe that's a lot less impressive than an elephant. I honestly don't know what size whales we're talking about. You know, there are some fairly small whales, but it's certainly an oddball little fact about this oddball little cartridge, or I guess oddball big cartridge. But anyways, I think that is going to do it for this week's Cartridge of the Week episode featuring the 460 Weatherby Magnum. I hope you all enjoyed the video as much as I personally enjoyed making it, and hopefully, I usually read a script when I do these, and I'm noticing that the cartridge is kind of like, since it's so long, it's doing this. So hopefully I kept that mostly in frame for most of the video while I'm talking. Also, actually, fun fact, you know, I mentioned this cartridge is pretty heavy. It's actually like slightly tiring out my hand holding it here. Like I was holding it like this, and like you can feel the weight. Just another fun little fact. But anyways, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video as much as I personally enjoyed making it, and I will see y'all in the next Cartridge of the Week episode.